On live national television, during a high-stakes CNN roundtable that was supposed to showcase Democratic unity, a bomb went off. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, the establishment's golden son, launched a stunning attack, accusing the progressive wing of dragging the party off a cliff with reckless extremism. But what happened next is why you're here. Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, calm and unshaken, fired back with devastating precision, unleashing a fury of leaked documents and irrefutable data that ripped the mask off of party hypocrisy. 2 power players, 1 stage, and 81 million Americans watching. What did Crockett reveal that had Jeffries frozen in his seat and the party scrambling for damage control before the cameras even stopped rolling? This is a story worth every second of your time. Under the blinding heat of studio lights, the CNN set pulsed with an artificial calm. At the center, in a navy suit as crisp as his reputation, sat Hakeem Jeffries. Beside him, in a deep crimson blazer that dared to defy the room's symmetry, was Jasmine Crockett. She wasn't just another panelist. She was the face of the progressive movement. A civil rights attorney from Texas who spoke for the unheard. Tonight, she was seated in the lion's den. The discussion, sold as a dialogue on unity, felt like anything but. Then, Jeffries leaned forward. His voice, smooth as velvet but sharp as a razor, delivered the line that cracked the room in two. The progressive wing, he said, pausing like a lawyer laying a trap, is risking our party's future with their unrealistic, radical policies. The attack was public, deliberate, and personal. He didn't name her, but he didn't have to. It was a setup, a ritual humiliation broadcast to millions. But Jasmine Crockett didn't flinch. She didn't come to play polite. When she finally spoke, her voice was low, precise, and carried the weight of someone done playing by the old rules. You just said out loud, she began, her stare unblinking, what too many in leadership have whispered in backrooms. Well, I heard you then, and I'm hearing you now. So let's get something straight. If giving people healthcare, paying them enough to live, and protecting the planet is radical, then maybe the real problem isn't me. The moderator shifted nervously. Crockett pressed on. You call that extreme? I call that basic. The truth is, you're not worried about voters being alienated. You're worried about donors being offended. So don't dress it up as strategy, Leader Jeffries. If your biggest fear is that I'm making people care too loudly, then maybe it's not my voice that's the problem. The air turned electric. And that's when Jasmine Crockett reached down and drew a slim folder from beneath the desk. The moment the seal caught the light, the room knew this wasn't theater anymore. This was evidence. She slid out a single page. This, she said quietly, is from the Democratic Party's own internal report on the last midterm cycle. And it says something very different than what you just claimed. She tapped the paper. In contested swing districts, progressive candidates outperformed moderates by an average of 5 percentage points. Not in safe blue seats. In the very battlegrounds you say we're alienating. 5 points is the difference between winning and losing a House majority. These numbers aren't mine. They belong to the DNC. Jeffries, unnervingly still, tried to pivot. With all due respect, he said, his voice condescending, those figures lack context. But Jasmine Crockett was ready. She lifted a sleek black tablet, the screen glowing. Context, she repeated. I've got all the context, Leader Jeffries. Right here. She held the tablet to the camera, revealing the full, unredacted DNC report, voter turnout, messaging data, the works. This isn't a spreadsheet I made in my basement, she said, her voice like ice. This is your report. So unless you're prepared to tell America that your own party's data can't be trusted, I suggest we stop pretending the facts are up for negotiation. The room was silent, but she was just getting started. And since we're being honest, she said, her voice dropping to a level that was cold enough to burn, let's talk about money. She tapped the screen. The charts faded, replaced by rows of names, corporate PACs, donation totals, and one name that repeated again and again. Hakeem Jeffries. In the past 3 election cycles, Leader Jeffries has accepted over $600,000 from pharmaceutical companies alone. Another $320,000 from fossil fuel corporations. Over $1 million from the very industries with a direct interest in making sure things stay broken. She looked at him directly. 2 years ago, a bill to cap insulin prices was on the floor. Public support was at 92%. Then suddenly, the provision was stripped. In the quarter leading up to that vote, you received over $87,000 from pharmaceutical PACs. I'm not accusing you of anything illegal. I'm accusing you of something worse, being predictable. Of being part of a system where we can trace campaign donations like breadcrumbs right to the bodies those laws leave behind. The studio was frozen. When you tell working-class families you support a higher wage, then kill the bill in a backroom with a technicality, what are they supposed to believe? Your words or your bank statements? People might think legislation dies because of timing or lack of consensus. But more often, it dies in someone's pocket. It dies when politicians claim to care in public and cash checks in private. Then came the line that cracked the dam. This isn't speculation. It's a pattern. And the American people have a right to know exactly how much it costs to kill a promise. She slid the tablet across the polished desk, straight toward Jeffries. The sound was soft but piercing, a modern gavel crashing down. I have the full breakdown right here. You want to talk integrity? Let's start here. The record speaks louder than any podium ever could. The camera zoomed in on Jeffries, a man cornered not by rhetoric, but by receipts. He stared at the tablet like it might explode. And maybe, in a way, it already had. The battle of ideas was over. This was a contest of credibility, and the paper trail was scorching. This wasn't just a takedown anymore. It was a mirror held up to a broken system. And it forces us to ask a harder question. What have we normalized? When did telling the truth on live television become a revolutionary act? This is not a time to sit back and applaud as if watching a revolution is the same as joining one. The forces she stood against, the money, the manipulation, the rot, are counting on our exhaustion. They are counting on us to scroll past this story. But if we do, then we weren't witnesses. We were accomplices. If you believe that unity without truth is a betrayal, then hit that like button to spread this message. If this story moved you, let us know what you think in the comments below. And most importantly, if you believe in holding power accountable, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications, because the fight for truth is far from over. Thank you for watching.